We got the sounds from the pit, straight out the box, baby. That's it, the sounds from the pit, making that berg noise. Go get it, the sounds from the pit, straight out the box, baby. That's it, the sounds from the pit, no covers, Loren. We got the sounds from the pit, straight out the box, baby. That's it, the sounds from the pit, making that berg noise. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have two hot artists, brilliant male vocalists of Pittsburgh. Let me introduce to you the one and only Cam Chambers and Rich Hutchins. What's up, fellas?
What's going on?
What's happening?
Speak a little louder to the people, like how you sing, brother. So I always ask the artists, do you guys go by any other stage names?
Oh, no,
Hutch.
I don't.
Hutch.
Everybody knows
And
me
you
as
use your
Hutch.
full government
Cam
name.
Chambers,
Cam
my name
Chambers.
is my name.
Love
Okay.
it, love it. These are, of course, two artists from the Burgh who have original material. Shout out to Loren, no covers.
Boop.
Got you.
Yes.
So let's get right into it. Before we get into the topic at hand, let's talk a little bit about your journey. Let's go with the young guy first. I think he's younger
Okay.
than you.
Okay.
Let's go with Cam first.
Let's
Talk
go.
about your journey in music, when you got started. When
I
you start
started
writing
when
music.
started when I was a kid. Came
Okay.
up in church, whole family. Mom and dad, everybody's in the choir. Directing the music. Everybody's a part of it in some way. So I came up just practicing every Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just all week. It's just something a part of music in the church. So we were always involved. So that's how I came up. So I knew I wanted to be a part some way, but I knew I wanted to do a certain kind of music as well. So
Okay.
I wanted to grow into a
What's certain kind of music?
well, music that
Was it gospel music?
it wasn't gospel music, but I knew I wanted to have the roots of gospel in whatever I did because that's how I was rooted. You know what I'm saying? So I knew I wanted to just develop a sound with this as the base, but I wanted to say what was on my heart and really just get my message across. Because
influences.
just my influences. 'Cause
No,
my
well,
influences.
who were some of your artistical influences?
Well, since it was gospel, Kirk was a rebel.
Okay.
So I started listening to the first, my first love was a rebel, you know what I mean?
Right.
So before I was allowed to listen to other music, because when I'm in my mom and dad's house, I was only allowed to listen to gospel. So Kirk, and
Y'all
any
understand.
sound that was different, that was pushing the limit, you know what I mean? I liked. So but as far as time went on, I was into, Pharrell Williams.
Okay.
He really had a part in my youth as a kid. He changed from my style because he was I feel like a really rebel in hip hop. He
Okay.
did what he wanted. He got his point across, and he was just that guy. Everybody wanted to be like that because he was just him, though. I feel like he could just wake up and it was a normal day, but everybody in rap was glorifying just the
Yes.
originality. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
from day one, I wanted to be original. So
So that's interesting because you gave me pretty much two non-semi singers. You're a strong vocalist. Who
Kirk
vocally?
who
And
Who-
Pharrell.
So
vocally-
vocally, it's crazy. Nat King Cole,
Okay.
the old jazz,
Okay.
Donny Hathaway.
Okay.
Those two rule from the jump. Were two voices that really stuck. The clearness of Nat's and but the soul in Donnie's. I was like, yo, what is this? So
that combo.
that was really as far as voice wise, because I love the old. I grew up on jazz standards. My grandparents were very big jazz heads, so all they did was
And that's interesting because prior to set, you're 29.
29.
And he mentioned none of the
Get contemporary.
contemporary.
No contemporaries. That's amazing.
And a lot of artists I'm finding that when I'm talking to
people your age, younger, or in that 30,
Yeah.
they always, Nancy Wilson. Now we'll hear a lot of these type of people, but none of not Beyonce or none of
Right.
the modern
Yeah.
artists,
Yeah.
R&B artists or pop artists that are out today.
No, of course Stevie and like
See?
more modern. Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Stevie coming up just a little bit, but that's
Yeah.
still,
But-
baby boomer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like timeless music. If you're a
Classical
serious
music.
artist, you can only be influenced by the greats, because even people like, when you say Nancy Wilson, I'll say Jill Scott.
Right.
For
That's
sure.
the only person I could think could be a contemporary.
Yeah.
You say Ella Fitzgerald, I might even come back and say Jill Scott. But you have to take yourself seriously
Yeah.
to listen to Ella, to listen to
For
Nat
sure.
King Cole, to really dive into Stevie Wonder. And it's the influence of your elders.
Yeah.
Who's
That's
like,
wonderful.
This
Straight
is a
up.
song.
Yeah.
This is music.
Yeah.
That's not music.
That's how you put a song together.
That's what they always do.
Yeah, how you put a song together, how you from start to finish, how you make moments throughout the song. You know what I mean, for the listener. So that's
So when I was younger, I mean,
Uh-huh.
this guy he knew nothing about me, but I was one of those voyeurs in church, and I just remember him and Curtis Lewis singing
yeah.
at the round and bro. And the Lord is good because he allows me to bond or develop relationships with these magnificent musicians in Pittsburgh. And he's another one. Rich, tell the people a little bit about your story and where you start singing and where you are now.
Well, as you said,
This guy.
churching around.
You did not start at the church and around, sir. I did
I-
not meet you at the church and around.
Well, you didn't meet me at the church and around, but that's definite roots. Because
Yes.
my grandparents and my mother, of course, they were devout. My mother decided to go to Deliverance Temple. Absolutely. So I was there for a while until they kicked me out the choir.
Is that what happened?
We're not going to ask you why they
That's
did.
exactly
We
why.
don't do that.
Yeah, that's what
We
happened.
don't want to do
I
that.
never knew. So
That's
we
why I
grew
ended
up
up
in
going back to the
Deliverance
church and
Temple.
around.
If I get her on this church kick, we're gonna start having
Yeah,
church
we're
in
not
a
even-
minute,
But
man.
now that I know that they kicked you out of I had no idea.
Yeah, they did. I mean,
We don't
long
want to know
story
why
short, I
they
mean,
kicked him out of the church thing. See, you're gonna have me
Was
ask
it-
him the question.
Was it presentation? Was it because you were presenting?
no, I had gotten asked by a young lady to go to the sweetheart ball. Yeah, no. The sister asked me. She was actually an upperclassman, which made me even want to go even more.
No doubt, no doubt.
So, I had already, before I even talked to my mother or anybody, I had said, well, I'll go. Right. So I told my mother. She started getting my outfits together, and of course, it was against, the church rules and things to be in the choir and attend secular events like that.
Really?
Yeah. So that's kind of what happened there. And my mother said, well, they're not going to stifle your gifts, so you can go back to the round. And I got back with the Church and Around Youth Choir.
So let's talk about stay on that trajectory and
Absolutely.
talk about
The influence of Curtis
the
Lewis
same
Sr.?
thing I asked about
Oh, man.
with Cam. I don't even want to stay stuck at the church because we're finding out everyone that I've interviewed or that we've chopped it up with
Church
the
roots.
roots.
That's the roots.
I want to know because we can spend the whole session there.
Yeah.
How you got to your original stuff, my sands, and
It was actually my high school middle and high school music teacher who got me, because like Cam, there was no secular music in the house. So if we got it somewhere else, or when grandma and grandpa went to the grocery store, they pulled out them funk records.
right.
But it was her who told me, you can be in the church and you really don't. There's inspirational music out there and she got me into doing more like jazz and R&B and things of that nature, and started doing that kind of stuff in school. In high school, Aliquippa High School. Shout outs.
You
want
want to say the teacher's name? The teacher who inspired you to take it?
Joyce Palmer is her name.
Nice.
She was Henderson. She got married. She's a Palmer now. And definitely much respect to her. I owe a lot to her, as well as Reverend Curtis Lewis, rest his soul.
Yes, sir.
Those were two of my strongest influences personally that kind of shaped and groomed who I am as an artist today. You know, of course, there's Donny Hathaway was for sure one of them. Shaka Khan being my all-time favorite. Loved her. Tremaine Hawkins, another one who was really influential in the type of stuff that I like to do, and you know, things of that nature. But going, that's how I got more into secular music, because my intention was to, of course, stay in gospel, because that's all I was taught, you know, for a while.
Yeah.
But once I had that conversation, I'm like, okay, well, yeah, there is inspirational music, which that's the kind of stuff I started writing. You know, there's no cursing and things in my music.
Yeah.
Except
So
for
that's
one
interesting, because because I don't want to make this about me, but you know, it's something that goes off when we deal with this whole secular music, like music that we sing in the temple. Yes, that's set aside, but do we have to really? I can say this. I always tease people when you listen to that devil music. Oh, so when you made me, you was listening to "Tis So Sweet to Trust in Jesus."
Okay.
Nope.
No,
That part.
Temptations. I heard the
Indeed.
Temptations in the morning and stuff. Because when you think
Titty
about, and again, I
Pendergrass.
don't want to get into this is not a sacred session, but you know, but when you think about music or even the Bible, it's music, and when you look at the drama, the murder,
Poetry.
especially when you
Yeah.
deal with
It's
First
life.
Samuel, David, it's life.
Life.
So God created us to express ourselves through the music.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Of course, music that degrades and things. Yes, I have an issue with that as well. These two guys, whoever came to the Prince tribute, you know, they were two stars at the Prince tribute. I'm gonna stick with, before I go back to Cam, I'm gonna stick with Rich. You were part of a group with a good friend of mine named My Sand, and then you did an album. How long ago was that with you and Simon?
That was 2005, I believe.
Wow.
2005, Shadow Lounge.
A
Live
beautiful
concert.
album. What's the self title?
It's a Hutch Simon project, Out of the Shadow.
Out of the Shadow.
Because it
Out
was
of the
recorded
Shadow.
Still
live
hot,
at the
y'all.
Shadow
Live
Lounge.
recording.
Look at the live recording, Out of the Shadow. Positive music. I pulled Rich out of the shadows because no one could find him. And I found
Yes.
this guy, and I'm pushing him to start writing some more. Is anything on the horizon that you've been working on or that you're thinking about?
Yeah, some people dusted off these chords and got me on some new stuff.
Okay.
Young artist who's actually been doing it for a minute, and I'm proud of him because I used to give him voice lessons. Ira Soul
Okay.
is his name, and he put out please, I'm probably gonna say this name, hip hop something too. I'm sorry, Ira, but yeah, he just dropped his CD this month, and
You're on that?
he
Okay.
he did the same thing you did. Just happened to run into me and pulled me out of the crates and said he had a song that he wanted to do a remix on,
I got a
and I'm
couple
on
songs for
with
you too now.
awesome. I'm all for it. I'm definitely on top of my game at this point. So you'll be hearing some new stuff from me really
Nice.
soon. The song that song called "So Good," and quite frankly, I'll be honest with you. When people ask me to do stuff, I'm like, oh, I hope I like this. I really hope I like it, because it's a lot more work when you're not really feeling what you're doing. You know, you're just kind of
Absolutely.
doing it as a favor or something like that. So you, but when he sent me the track, I was like, okay, this is all right. So
Right.
it was easy for me to write to, and I hate forgetting names, but the son of the group Levert, there was Gerald, Sean, and
Eddie.
I think
I mean,
Mark
that's the
was
father.
the other guy that
producer.
was in the group.
tall
Well, his
producer.
son is actually on this song with us.
Okay, nice.
So awesome track, awesome. Actually, his whole CD is really nice. I'm very proud of him. He
Cool,
took some
cool,
notes
cool.
from
What's his name?
Ira Soul.
I
Ira.
Ira Soul. Shout out to Ira Soul, man.
Shout
Much
out to
respect
Ira.
to you.
Absolutely.
Moving to this young buck. So it's interesting. I met Cam, little bruh bass player Cloud Flowers, was doing a '90s show, and uh, me being a part of the bridge, he has different artists come up, and this guy come up. I said, Claude, who's that? Oh, that's Cam Chambers. He dope, ain't he? I didn't know Claude had sent me your project prior to really meet, because he had his hair like that, but on the cover he got the hat on, so I didn't quite know. So Cam has a dope, and he's working on a new one. I'll let him talk about that before we get into this Sounds of Pittsburgh conversation. New Day, correct?
For what that?
The first project.
No, that's a single. That's my first single.
That's your first single.
My first
Talk-
project, Prodigal.
Prodigal, y'all.
All right.
I did a couple gigs with him, and
Interesting.
we just been killing the New Day. So I just
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
So talk about your
Yes.
project, man.
Man, Prodigal was, I feel like, my life up to the point it came out. So like I feel like I lived everything that I talked about in my album, and that was just my experience. That's a capsule that I just gave to the world, and I feel like at that moment, it was just that time to put it out. Like I was working on that music for a long time, for about 3 years, for pretty much at least, because New Day came out in 2019, but that was the first project song for like the start of, to like, I was thinking about making a project after that song, just because that's the first song I ever made. So I never made a song before New Day. Like that was from start to finish. That was my first.
Maybe that's why I stuck in
Completed
my head,
and
right?
So I was like, okay, if we could just build off of this. So about 2 years later, Prodigal came out, and it was just like a capsule. Like it was the pandemic, man. Like it was the middle of it. That was the worst that it ever was, and I'm like, I don't know what's about to happen to the world. Like I gotta give something relatable out, so we all, like I just wanted to give a relatable moment that we could all be together in, with that music and that, because I feel like I wasn't talking about nothing besides something somebody might have felt, in their own version of what I said in the song. So
Nice.
because I didn't put really no visuals to it. I didn't put nothing but music out. So like you can pick if you want to cry or dance. You can pick if you want to dance or
Wow.
sit down. Like you can make your own history with the music. It was just music to have. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just an experience I
And you're
wanted people
currently
to have.
working on new stuff,
For sure,
right?
for sure, yeah. And that's a whole new. But that's the new side is personal. The new stuff is personal.
Yeah. Ask
So
me
I'm gonna
how
decide
I
who's
know.
Hey, it's gonna be like who's because I wanted my grandma to hear the first one, and I wanted her to know that I'm making music. But this one is like, Grandma, look, hey, you might not want to play no more.
Just keep playing that first one I made.
You might
for you.
look, just stay with that one because hold on to that because
Yeah, the chase, baby.
it's personal. You know what I mean? The next new chapter, like you said, expressing myself. I'm an artist. I feel like if you're expressing yourself in your purest form, like everybody that knows like what you do will gravitate to that. Will know like that's a real thing because you live it. It comes out of you instead of just you got to prove it behind you're in a studio. I don't got to prove I'm an artist. I just walk around. People can feel it when
But
same with you, bro.
Nice.
I've been told you that. So
This is a
you
great
already know.
segue into like the crux of what we really want to deal
Yeah.
with. So with every guest, we ask the question. Like I've been studying Pittsburgh art and just realizing the rich history and the beauty and the skill of the musicians, actors, painters. But since we're dealing with music, and I travel. And everyone who's seen every episode, I say the same thing. I travel. Where you from? Pittsburgh. Oh, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Very seldomly, I'll get a baby boomer or old school cat to say, oh, I used to go to the Crawford Grill, 83 years old, young fella. The baby boomers, they knew about the rich history.
Right.
But yet there are so many great, young, talented artists like ourselves. I'm a little older, but and that always bothered me why we didn't have, well, I shouldn't ask the question. Let me ask the question to you. Does Pittsburgh have a sound? And if they do, what is that sound? And if they don't, why not? And let's get into that.
This is the question we're grappling with.
Yes. You want to go first? Go ahead, Rich.
Well,
And I'm using the term sound literally, metaphorically. You know, use your imagination with that.
Theoretically.
Theoretically,
Yeah.
yes.
I really can't. Knowing the artists that came up around me during the Shadow Lounge days and even slightly prior, we all had our own thing going on, and honestly, I mean, there was a community of us,
Hmm.
but then there was still kind of a divide where if we had really kind of, I believe if we had pulled more of our resources like what Justin was doing, he was very instrumental in the Hutch Simon project actually getting
Yes.
out. He
Yeah.
was part of that, and I give him mad props and much love for that.
Hmm.
Appreciate Ime Alaquiva,
Hmm.
absolutely. Someone who's actually really doing big things. I'm seeing a lot of things they're doing now, but some of those things should have also continued to uh, be more of a vehicle in helping each other
Right.
So, and,
to
and, and it helping each other how? Is that helping each other? Would it have created a sound that we could claim as Pittsburgh sound?
a sound. Now, uh, no, I wouldn't think so. I would just
Would
say
it have created an identity?
it definitely more of a music presence that there was from the Wiley Avenue days and continuing
Okay.
Yes.
that legacy as
Hmm.
far as artistry and in music. Yeah, it would have
Hmm.
absolutely. I think that one of the saddest days was when the Shadow Lounge closed.
Yeah.
That was a big hit to us as artists because
Yeah.
that was a home for us, and it was what I always said is training ground,
Okay.
Right.
because
Absolutely.
being that most people, like we mentioned, sir, should I say any names? Like
You don't have to
people
because we don't want to
people
incriminate no more.
people that I'm not incriminating, but I mean it's just facts that people like Shanice Wilson,
Hmm.
who awesome artist. She
Hmm.
she did definitely made a mark, but 9 times out of 10 you don't know she's from Pittsburgh.
Right.
You
That's
don't
what we were
know it.
talking about before
Right.
we went on.
And what's the point of having a place where you've gotten your grounding, your roots, if you're not going to represent it?
Right.
I'm not talking noise on these people. You
It's
manage
facts.
your career how you choose to manage it.
Hmm.
However, if there was more of a pull from those people who actually, you would get more people looking at the newer artists and the things that are happening artistically in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Had those people, aside from Wiz Khalifa, of course, I mean, he even got flack from the maybe not even being born in this city, but I mean, this is the city that raised him,
Right.
Right.
so he represents
Yes, he
well,
did.
He became
very
Wiz
well.
Khalifa in ID Lab Studio. It's a
Absolutely.
fact.
Yeah.
Come on
Around
now.
other Pittsburgh artists who were recording there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His swag came from being in
And
these
there's a
circles.
there's a wealth of talent here.
Hmm.
And there should be like somebody like yourself, Dwayne. I mean, you're phenomenal with pulling things together and
Hmm.
getting people inspired to do stuff. Because when you called
Yes.
me in on that Prince show, I hadn't really been doing much of anything, but you called. I'm like, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was
Yes.
re-inspired to actually get back on my grind and do some things.
Nice.
So it takes people like yourself
Hmm.
and those of us who've been around a while, as well as being inspired by the fresh
Faces and talent
things that's happening
emerging.
right now. Cam is one of the greatest artists that I've seen in modern day.
Mm.
And this is from not only performing with him in the Prince show, but after seeing him in his own element.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Hmm.
You I felt like I was at someone who has arrived. Not saying that you're not there, but you're dude. That
Nice.
that show at Mr.
Dope.
Smalls.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Super dope.
And even the little thing that you did over at I think it was Hazlitt,
Yeah.
somewhere
North
around
side.
there, the little thing, man.
Nice.
These type things, like it
See,
just somebody like myself who had really just kind of, I started losing it for a minute, where I just got beside myself, really started, honestly lost a little confidence here and there. But God knows where to place us.
Right.
Yeah.
He knows where to
Absolutely.
send us and who to put us in front of.
Mm-hmm.
And this young man right here re-inspired, rekindled some things in me.
So,
And
so
especially
from what you're
behind
saying, I'm gathering that your question is, I mean, that your answer is no,
There's no Pittsburgh
that
sound.
we don't have a Pittsburgh sound.
I can't say that we can claim a sound like if we look at Philadelphia, there's a certain thing that happens and
Absolutely.
certain
Yeah.
thing that resonates
We-
from it.
we-
You know
we-
that it's like a Philly thing.
Right.
We know neo soul is
No
germane
neo-soul,
to
absolutely.
Philly, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
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 So you might differ. Does Pittsburgh have a sound? If they do,
No.
you
I
said
won't
There's
even
no
definitely.
Pittsburgh
no.
sound.
all over
No.
the place.
Talk a little bit about that,
No.
bro.
So Pittsburgh is, first off, it's a gold mine. First off,
Absolutely.
the way I view my city,
Uh-huh.
because it's so untapped
Mm-hmm.
of so many
Incredible.
pieces of gold everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
Yeah.
if people understood, you know what I mean? Like, we are a gold mine, instead of just acting like, we
We're
just we ain't nothing. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because this is what happens. I feel like the sound could be there, but it's just. I'm gonna be blunt with you. Originality isn't rewarded here.
Right.
So
That's interesting.
a
That is very
sound
interesting.
That's a sad truth.
isn't rewarded here.
Mhm.
Like, you gotta almost to work to get a check. You gotta do somebody else's stuff.
You gotta do
Yeah.
cover.
Because why are you telling people that are good at what they do, hey bro, play something else? Why? You telling one of the best keyboard players in the world, one of the best bass, not in the world, I should say. Well, maybe I'll argue
Yeah.
with anybody
Yeah.
here.
Arguably.
I'll go to bat with anybody
Right,
here.
Yeah.
right.
So if you telling them the best people here in the city at what they do, hey man, they like to dance. You should just tell them go do what you do. And whatever they give you, you should just trust that. But no, we've boxed ourselves in, like, to get the gig, I got to do the covers. No, we stopped trying to just be great at what we do, and that's just make art, and that's just play music. Like, I'm done playing to the crowd.
Yeah.
I started to play to the crowd when I first started, but at the end of the day, they got what I do now. So now you're gonna sit there and you're gonna have to just sit what I do, because
Okay, let me let you finish. 'Cause you will.
I feel like it's not rewarded enough if I have to do something else that I don't want to do.
But watch this.
Feeling like,
Well,
you understand what I'm saying?
Well, who gets rewards?
It's not about being.
Well, no. Let's play with that word.
Mhm.
Who deserves rewards?
People who've earned it.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
earners.
So let's
There's a lot of
Okay.
earners here playing like they ain't earned nothing. They just
Okay.
happy with the scraps. It's like, why are you putting all this work in to just always get scraps?
That part.
Like,
But part of being an
You know?
artist is knowing what your audience.
Knowing
yeah,
your
for
audience.
sure.
So
Yeah.
if you know, because there's something that you do that is freaking fantastic, and so the BGVs, shout out to the BGVs.
Absolutely.
So when I'm working with them, and we talk, I throw out this term local.
Yeah.
Oh, they're great, but they're local. And could it be? Let me play advocate here, devil's advocate. Could it be that if your originality doesn't move me, you lose me? So it could be. Sometimes I hear some great vocalists, but their presentation doesn't draw me in
Yeah.
to their song.
Lackluster. Mm-hmm.
And so to perform in this city, and like in Chicago, where they will sit on you and throw something at you. If you attempt to do something original, you better bring it. And there's something that you do that I don't see a lot of artists that are great vocalists that you do. So he'll do a cover and he'll mix his song into, hey, y'all, I got a new song, and he gives the background of the song. Do y'all mind if I sing it? Go ahead.
Yeah.
And then he kills it. Then he has them singing the hook, and he's using the whole stage. And I'm now into his either pain, his love, or what he was feeling in that moment. And I think a lot of artists in Pittsburgh who have that originality. Either they're scared, or
It's
they
the
don't,
risk.
or they don't want to take the
It's
risk.
the risk.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the
Yes.
risk.
Yep.
But the reward is huge
Right.
for it. It's
Right.
just that we're in a city where there's a lot of talented non-risk takers.
Yes.
Oh,
And
that's
it's like-
good.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm not calling nobody not talented, and I'm not saying people ain't amazing, but I came up under and I watched everybody. I'm a person that watches the game. I get game from the best of, it don't matter if you better than me, I'm trying to be in the room with you, I'm trying to learn. Even though you're giving me something you might not want to, because there's a lot of people protecting too.
Yeah.
The little scraps that you did earn, that you should have got a bigger plate, you protected nothing, bro. Like, I'm not trying to just get that. I'm not trying to take from you. I'm just trying to. We trying to make
We
the
all
pop
trying to
bigger.
win.
We
Right.
trying to get the
Yeah.
pop
Right.
bigger.
Let's go.
The pop
Right.
should just grow.
Right.
But you protecting something like I'm trying to. That's how I came in the game. So I didn't come invitingly. I almost came in like this is my just because I came in with the original. I'm not coming to take y'all stuff, but it was almost I got the energy from a lot of older OGs who've been here man, he can't play this song like me though. I don't want to play the song like you, bro. I want to play my own music.
you.
Bro.
Really?
I'm me.
Not at all.
So
I'm straight
fear
up
for you
me.
wasn't enough.
Never,
Wow.
ever, because I never had it growing up. Because like I wasn't like what I was around growing up. I was the most original one. I always felt like the black sheep. So I'm comfortable there. You know what I'm saying? So
Nice.
like being a black sheep in Pittsburgh is just a thing where it's like, hey, we gonna make it do what it do. Someone gonna watch. They're gonna get hit one way or another.
Yes.
You know, and while everybody's doing the same thing, I can always stick out because everyone's just gonna, you know, it's just gonna something's gonna spark. Like why am I just gravitated to this?
Feel that.
And ain't nothing. I ain't doing nothing different than you might see in New York, than Philly.
Can I
you
ask
know?
a question?
This is true.
I often wonder when it comes to the Pittsburgh sound. You know, I've been around a lot of amazing artists in Pittsburgh
Yeah.
during the Shadow Lounge era, at church, different places where we find all the great artists. As you began to emerge and reveal yourself, did you then find some of those artists who were excellent started drawing towards you and saying, "Hey, young brother, you're really fly.
Yeah.
Let's collaborate."
Yes,
Or
the right ones, the ones that I wanted too.
yeah,
The ones that the ones that I known I was gonna work with
Mm-hmm.
are like I'm in the rooms with them now because they're the original. They're free. They're not moving to the same beat of everybody's drums. And if they are, they're doing something that's making them. You know what I mean? Like because Pittsburgh, especially in hip hop, everybody really repeats the same motion, the same. It's like really the same rapper with just maybe
different
a
name.
different, you know what I mean, different name. You know, but there's certain people that just tweak that small thing that got the whole city gravitated them, and they just do one thing better. They take one thing to another level, and those are the people that they don't get happy with just It's just that one extra step because it's a strategy with this whole thing. So if I see you move like that, but there's a lot of people in Pittsburgh who avoid that and just want to be comfortable with
Stay in that comfort zone.
just stay in that comfort zone. And it's like, bro, some people might not like it. Some people might just say, stop. We don't,
That's gonna happen.
it's going to happen. But
gonna
just, I feel like for what we get paid in the city, it ain't worth just selling out to what you want to do.
No,
This
it's
is true.
not.
You know what I'm saying? So like us showing up to these gigs every week, it's cool and all, but we showing up not knowing, we show up knowing we're really not getting paid enough to
Right.
also pay what we don't want to play.
Right.
You gonna have to do one or the other with me. If I'm not getting paid what I want, bro, hey, look,
I'm gonna
I'm
perform
gonna play what I
I'll
want.
play what I want to
And
play.
you gonna vibe with me.
Let's
If you
go.
gonna vibe with me, don't hire me again. And I came in with that energy, so
That's what it
look,
is.
That's strong
That's what
word.
it
But
is,
how
yeah,
do you
absolutely.
keep the lights on, bro? Because a man that don't work don't eat.
hey, but you find you go where the love is.
Yeah.
You go where the love is, and if you're good at what you do, there's gonna be love out there for you. Period.
So you're saying
True.
that is here because you talked about the goal.
It's like the tough love for me right now because I feel like every time I play for people, if you weren't gonna rock with me in the beginning just because of what you knew, we were friends by the end. Like there ain't no way you can sit a whole 45 minutes with me after hearing what I do in my set because I'm taking pieces from, you know what I mean, what you like. So I'm just putting my spin on what you know. You know what I'm saying? And just
Good stuff.
trying
Nice.
to make a foundation of a sound that way. Because it's like everybody looks to other cities for, I'm not saying any other city when I do nothing. Like I'm either, I'm in New Ken, I rep Pittsburgh, wherever, you know what I mean? I'm both. But like it's just I don't
That's
feel like people will be
Hey yo, that's
hey.
straightforward, and because you answered some of that next question is what's it gonna take to create that? I'm gonna use that term because sound. What's it gonna take to create that identity? That when they hear Cam, they gonna say Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So what's it gonna take for us artists,
I
you
feel like
artists?
for Pittsburgh, it's just the identity could be originality.
That's
Like I
great.
feel like it just could be originality. Like you go to Pittsburgh to not know what to expect, but when you go there, you're expecting quality. That's original.
Yeah, but
You-
here's the thing.
Because I feel like there's cities like that. Like if you go to LA, you don't know what to expect. You just know you're going to see some wild,
Yes.
interesting
Different.
thing.
But there is a West Coast
Sound. Of course,
Right.
because there was enough original cats that gravitated to the culture there. The culture is bad here of Pittsburgh.
Oh, you're talking some more stuff.
That's that. It's not about the sound because there ain't no culture to make a sound out of.
Well,
That's how I
would
feel.
you like to? Would you like? Because personally, I've been thinking. I think about this all the time as an artist and as an appreciator of fine art. And there's so many amazing musicians,
So
artists, singers, visual. I mean, Pittsburgh has some of the best of the best. You
Straight
might
up.
not know it if you don't come here
Swear.
and go to a jazz club. You might not. But I feel like that's part of what Hutch is talking about when he's referring to the Shadow Lounge and how Justin, he really sort of started trying to bring together. He started looking out to see who were those people, and he started with this man. So
Yeah,
you
for
can see
sure.
where his eye was.
For sure.
He was like, we're going straight to the top. I mean, the live album, then the shows, and I was around. I collaborated with Hutch and Simon. The movement was there. Now, I believe that it's going to take some kind of foundation.
For
And we
sure.
were on our way to having that foundation. And I think what the Shadow Lounge provided was a platform, which we don't have anymore, but it was like a platform, say, Hutch is on the mic. Then after Hutch comes Cam.
Yeah.
Akil might be playing for you.
Yeah.
Any of the great players who would be, Huggy could be on. I mean,
Yeah.
anybody.
So my question
gonna
with
say
the Shadow
Rain.
Lounge would be, did they play original music or were they doing
Yes.
covers?
Absolutely.
They were doing
Original.
originals.
Original.
Oh yeah, we were.
So
were
isn't
always
it
hitting on
interesting
original
that
stuff.
you said something about the foundation, and it's interesting in Pittsburgh when those foundations are being established is ripped from us.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
It's just
with
like
it.
how
Even
why?
Whammo
You know what I mean?
was
I don't-
a foundation. Like
Right.
we don't even know who's coming to the city
Right.
until it's too late.
till it's too
Right.
late.
Until it sold out.
They
He was
were
like, "Oh,
here.
you ain't get tickets."
Or no
Yeah,
one,
they
or
were
no,
there.
like PJ Morton, and they were like, no one was there because nobody
know he was
knew.
The
here.
advertising.
That's what I'm
No.
saying.
That's deep.
And the same day, Uncle
Charlie Wilson.
Uncle Charlie was here,
Yeah.
and very few people knew.
And it's like there's so many artists that can open up for these people from Pittsburgh.
Yes.
You know, they always go to the rap shows, and like, there's always a rapper that I know that opened it up for a rapper coming here. They're always working,
Yeah.
always working.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like R&B, soul. First off, it's just like you got to get thrown a category here too, because if you're not R&B, you gotta be soul. You gotta be, you know what I mean? There ain't really such thing as just
Original.
an artist or just versatility. You know what I mean? Like I hate when people throw me into R&B
But
category.
I think I
first of all.
don't I don't
I
I don't
do.
think you.
I do.
Let's talk about that.
When I
too.
talked about him, I'd name
I hate that.
5 different kind of
just
categories
never liked
that's all wrapped up into his style.
Yeah, you did not call him. You were like, oh man, this guy.
He
He's
got hip hop, he got just neo soul, he got some pop stuff in there. He like everything classical stuff.
Yeah.
He got some of the. He does this one line. I don't know. He disguises it. What's the song? The Earth, Wind, and Fire riff.
New Day.
See, I keep on coming back to
Yeah,
the new
yeah.
day. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's that Earth. But how he disguises it.
Mm.
So all those elements
There's
that we
nuances
talked
all
about
throughout it,
are
yeah.
all in his music,
Mhm.
and that's what
Maybe-
gravitated me towards him.
Maybe examining, like, you all are giving me a different perspective on a Pittsburgh sound. I'm like, maybe there's a Pittsburgh experience because
That's
That's
exactly it.
That's
Because
it.
look,
Absolutely.
we sell the pirate games, we sell the hockey games, and all those are just covered with experiences. They talking about come experience our pirate. The pirates ain't
Right.
good. Pirates ain't good. First off, you
Terrible.
experience PNC Park. You experience the city behind it, that whole view.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
art, we can look at it the same way. I feel
Mhm.
like that's the
But that-
market. The
Yes.
experience is the market.
That's what the
Mhm.
Shadow
That's-
Lounge
yeah.
provided was the
Yep.
experience.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And when the original people
Absolutely.
came through, you were like, oh, this place is full
Oh,
of great artists and musicians who are
exactly.
original.
And
Yep.
you talk about Justin. He did the same thing at Spirit.
Yes.
Because when I went to Spirit Lounge, that was this thing.
Is that the one in
sold
Lawrenceville?
Me.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lawrenceville.
He like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There, it's not as often as maybe as Shadow Lounge, but
And Shadow
it
Lounge was
Spirit
much
tried to
daily.
keep the bones
Yes.
of what was going
What
on
about
in
in
Shadow.
jazz?
You know
like,
what I mean?
like on the north side, what was the popular place?
James Street.
James Street.
James Street,
Mhm.
yeah.
Street.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
Yes.
mean,
that.
you know, Kaunama
Yep.
is making a comeback with
Yup,
that.
yup.
But James, again, like all these
Nice.
foundational places.
People were meeting
Yes.
at,
Rip.
you know, and
And they
just
were
getting
ripping 'em
that
out.
flame under them to like be around the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that
And
happened to me.
The
literally.
Crawford was around so long. Maybe that's why it all keeps coming back. Maybe
Back to
that
the
is the
Crawford.
key, is because the greats came through the Crawford,
Mhm.
and it's like we have the jewels of that, like young diamonds. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
But
mhm.
the one thing that we do not have is that platform that has been there throughout all of the, like, we were the Shadow Lounge, Midnight Express, we were at the Crawford Grill,
Yeah.
right? Until it shut down in the early 2000s.
Mhm.
But we still had that to grasp on,
Yeah.
to connect ourselves to.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're losing the places.
Yeah.
You know, I think maybe the first time I heard Carolyn Petit might have been at James Street. You know,
Phenomenal.
Mhm.
phenomenal.
Mhm.
Because nowadays it's like the experiences, bro. I just feel like they're not like they don't even look to us to provide that anymore.
Right.
For the gig, they're just be like, come play music just so people can hear that. You know what I mean? It's just so background now. They're almost dumbing down the experience of what we're supposed to give in the first place.
But however,
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Wow.
Like
the
Yeah.
onus for the demand is not on them.
true.
We have to create that
That's
desire.
That's true.
It's not on
I
them.
was going there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We have to create that. Like, you know, going back to church, we have some ministries. Well, you know, they don't appreciate us.
Okay.
Because you're not doing anything for the people.
That's your issue.
Uh-huh.
So
Mhm.
we have to be creative and find ways
Find that
to make
niche.
them pay attention.
For
Yes.
sure.
Absolutely.
But with
Yeah.
those ways
Absolutely.
that you're saying come originality if we're going to push
Absolutely.
the art.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
But it comes with doing that though, because it sound good.
And no fear. And
No fear
and
would
taking
come,
the risk, and being,
you know.
and being all right to fail.
Yep,
Right.
that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
So
Right.
you only
fine.
can go
Yep.
stronger
Right.
when you fall on your face and get back up. and go
100%.
back.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now,
Absolutely.
I want to
100%.
ask a question about, I want to ask Hutch. Did you, because at the time when you were emerging at the Shadow Lounge, the live recording, it felt like everybody recognized that you're a star, that you and Simon are
Right.
this amazing combination. He's playing guitar. You have the best vocals. Nobody can out-sing you. You know what I mean?
Appreciate that.
Did you have a lot of support from other artists, or did you get a lot of hate?
Uh-oh.
Did you? Because I think this is a part of it,
We
guys.
get to the end. I guess we got to talk about that a little bit. Though.
Yeah, because I think that's
Yeah.
a part of
Oh,
why.
no question.
There was love and there was hate.
Okay.
There was more love than hate, though.
Yeah, I
There
would- I would say
it
so,
was
too.
It was a respect thing.
Mhm.
We mutually respected each other, and those that actually hated, I mean, they just weren't that good anyway.
Okay.
So, hey, to
Mhm.
be expected. Don't be mad at me because you ain't me. But there more so we more so got a whole lot of love
Yeah.
during
Yeah.
that time,
It was
especially
palatable.
because I think we were the only ones doing what we were doing
You
at that
were.
time.
Yes.
Just vocal and guitar, and actually still be able to rock the crowd.
Can
Like
sing anything.
it was a full band, right? And
And
even
you had
when
the packed
we
house that
actually
night too, right?
yes,
Every
absolutely. It for the recording as well as the listening party, just guitar.
Yes.
Yeah, it was an acoustic
Absolutely.
set, bro.
Yes.
Yep, the whole
Fire.
thing.
Yes.
And of course, like you were saying, you know,
There's
that
video,
call and
right?
response, it had the whole audience singing the hook of one of the songs, what a
I got
vamp.
no time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Negative energy. You got
Right.
me one time. Yes.
remembers.
Bruh.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bruh.
BET has, you know, you guys I'm hip hop, but I'm not hip hop like you. What's his name? Irv Gotti.
Irv Gotti.
His story, and it's kind of like yours. Irv was like, no, you gotta listen to this.
Absolutely.
You gotta
You have
play
to.
this.
Yes. Yes.
Irv took
No nose.
no.
He recognized the genius and he pressed it.
See, but we get turned down. This is what we do in Pittsburgh. We get turned down and we move away, or we talk about the person that turned us down. And they could, most times they are buttholes, but they hold some of the keys, and sometimes
That is a missing key.
Force that on them.
you got.
Gotta force
Yeah.
that on them.
Look, I don't want to say by any means necessary,
But kind of.
in hip hop,
but
they
in
did
New York,
that.
they do it by any
You
means
gonna play my
necessary.
stuff, you know
I
what
mean,
I'm
they're bringing Leor Cohen down to see DMX at the Trap House.
But
Yeah.
does this
Why do-
mentality have to start happening within the artist?
That needs
Yeah.
to happen.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
I feel like
And
it-
so when we get turned down, instead of, oh, you hurt my feelings,
Yeah,
or
tail
they don't
between the
like me,
legs.
or I'm not good enough. Nah.
Right.
undeniable.
Because there a lot of artists are like that.
Yeah.
True indeed.
Because one of the OGs who's going to be on the program, Sala, he says, when I was talking to him just offline about the show, he says, man, did you know even back in the 60s and before that, the Pittsburgh was known as the Dream Killers.
Really?
Even back then.
Wow.
That's why
I'm sad to know that
I
it's
didn't
true.
want to
I'm
talk
sad to
too
know that.
much
Yeah,
about
right.
because
Right.
church again. It's a spirit.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
I think it needs to break because what you said, there is gold laying
Yes.
around.
Yeah.
You know who's
Gems.
capitalizing on it? Transplants that are
Yep.
coming into the city
Yep.
are seeing it. Whoa,
Yep.
why ain't they doing nothing with this?
Boom. Let's take them out.
But we're still
Mm-hmm.
crabs in the barrel.
That's
Crabs in the
deep.
barrel.
And this is
Like a guy told me, and it's something that you were saying, and I walked in, Burn,
Yeah.
Dwayne, dumb me down. Yeah, you're fantastic. I was like, you must be talking about Dwayne Dolphin. No, I know Dwayne Dolphin. He's drunk.
Yeah.
I know Dwayne Dolphin. Didn't you do the opera? That's something with the Pittsburgh. I said, yes, sir. You're freaking fantastic. I was like, okay. He said, don't say that. Don't compare yourself to nobody. Ain't no one as good as being you.
period.
As
Yeah.
you. It ain't. Sometimes it ain't.
Come on
Even
now.
though
It
they'll
ain't-
try to
yeah.
vet us. Like, now, if my music sounds like Drake's, that's an issue.
Right. And mine doesn't.
Right. So it's about being the best you.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And can't no one compete with
that.
being you.
Yeah.
So shout out about your project again.
Oh,
Give 'em-
Prodigal.
Give them the name. Where
Oh,
they can find
Prodigal,
it.
all streaming platforms. It's all on streaming platforms. Anywhere you can get music. Prodigal, Cam Chambers. New music very soon.
Yes.
And my man Rich, even go back and get the 2005 Out of
Hutch
Shadow.
Simon Project. Hutch Simon
Out of the
Project, Out of the Shadow. Definitely. Yeah. It's all on, it's as well on all streaming platforms.
And y'all Pittsburgh, he's back. So be looking for him.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yo. It's been real, y'all. Till the next time. Hey, Pittsburgh, we being challenged, yo. I heard a lot of things today. Fear, we gotta start loving and supporting. We gotta
Originality.
break down the walls. We can't be scared to do our original stuff.
No fear.
Meet it and
That's
beat
the
it.
only way we're going to create this identity and this thing I'm calling the sound.
Bring it
These
forward.
are some of the pieces, y'all.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
We out.
We got the sounds from the pit, straight out the box, baby. The pit, the sounds